and welcome to Connect 360 Presents Group Therapy. I am King Bear in the building.
And I'm the truth seeker.
You know. Indonesia is the heavy duty cutie.
Is that right?
And ladies and gentlemen, we back at it yet again. But we're worn down. So you're gonna have to deal with a lot of testosterone today. You know, our what do you call it? For testosterone?
How is that a pause? Mr. Organic here.
Jeez. Anyway, our adult supervision, Michelle K, is out today. It happens to be Mother's Day, so happy.
Here in the States.
Yeah, here in the States. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Yes.
You know, so she's enjoying her time with her family. So she can't be here to supervise us. So So we're gonna tear it up as we do when there's no supervision or anybody to keep us in check. So
it's a man club today.
Yeah. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and all that good stuff. We appreciate all the likes, the comments, the subscribes. Don't forget to put the bell on so when the videos come out, you know exactly when they come out, because you'll get the alert to your phone, you'll get it to your computer, you'll get the smoke signals in the sky, you'll get every notification possible.
There we go.
All right?
I like that.
No more excuses.
That's it.
All right?
And comment, people.
Comment.
We want to talk to you.
Yes.
We want to have fun with y'all.
We're ready.
Let's go.
Engage.
All smoke appreciated, all smoke ready for it too.
We got Google Translate.
Word.
Put whatever
Word.
language you got.
Word. And when you put those other languages, this is our foreign language expert right here.
Yes.
So put it in your native tongue. Heavy Duty Cutie is going to translate it for us.
Pow pow.
So you guys ready?
Let's go.
All right, we got a great show for you, so we're about to hit it. Let's get to it.
One thing we're talking about with leaders is if you go to group therapy, and this is something that I emphasize, no two group leaders are necessarily going to lead group in the same way.
All right, gentlemen. So got an interesting topic for you today.
Okay.
I want to see what you guys think about this one. Today, we want to discuss dealing with breakups. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So,
I like this topic.
yeah. So I got a kind of way that I want to go with it, but we'll see where it goes and exactly how it goes with it.
Okay.
But I'll kind of just throw it out there, and then we'll just, as we do, see where it goes.
Right.
All right, so just to start off, so we're dealing with breakups. So I ask you guys, just to start off, how, in your past or how you typically think now, how do you guys typically break up with somebody when the relationship is gotten old, gotten a little stale, and you're the one who realizes, you know what, this is no longer with me, or no longer for me, excuse me. And it's like, you know, and in this situation, you know that the person still is holding on. So it's not a mutual thing. Like, you're not going around and, okay, we both know this is over with.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell they still want you, but you're like, I don't want this no more. So how do you get out of that? How do you deal with it?
Well, and that's kind of hard to say because it all depends where you at financially. As well, right?
Good point. Good
just
point.
saying.
Good point.
Big part.
Because if you got nowhere to go, you gotta save up and you gotta eat it for a couple of days. You gotta eat it. Eat the box. Whatever you gotta do. Just make it happen at the end of the day, right? Here's why. As a former banker and bank manager, I've sat down with a lot of clients, and 90% of the females always open a separate savings account and always told me, send it to my mother's address.
Oh, wow.
And I would always
a lot of
ask
that?
them why.
Interesting.
I would always ask them why. They
Right.
say, "Oh, I don't want my boyfriend or husband to know I have this second savings account."
Is that
I'm
for
like,
real?
"What's the purpose? In case something happens, I have money saved."
Wow.
But men never do that. And I started educating the brothers on that.
You know, that is so
Facts.
true.
Facts, bro.
You know, all right, for those who don't know, so I've been married twice before, and I'm married now. And something that my wife now had said to me before that is something that was instilled in her, and it speaks to what you were saying, was she was always told, never let the left hand know what the right hand was doing.
I've heard that.
And I've heard that phrase before,
Yep.
but it never really
Click.
it never really stuck. It was just like, oh, okay, that's just, ha ha ha, we're gonna be, some people are just sneaky out there. But it never really carried that gumption. Like, it was like, oh, so y'all are really out here doing
they
it
planning
to
it.
that level.
Yes, sir.
Like, literally going out and
Yes, sir.
opening accounts and like on some straight up Mission Impossible,
I gotta ask him.
like Ethan Hawke sneaky stuff, right?
I gotta ask you.
Word.
Yeah.
What was the percentage of women that came in and you had customer clients?
Majority,
Would you say it was more than 50?
oh, wow, it was closer to 90.
Wow, that's crazy.
It could have been, we just got married to, hey, I've been married 40 years.
It's crazy.
And they still either a P.O. box or ship it to, or the mailing address to a family member's house.
Now, how old were you at the time when you were doing banking? And
I was in banking for 20 years.
So I'm just trying to get like an age range of those people that you met.
Oh, different ages, bro.
Yeah, this is
Different ages.
he's dead.
I'm not talking about
across.
like 19, 20-year-olds. I'm like someone who's already in the marriage life or a fiance relationship.
So they would be, right now, they would be 60 years old, most of these people.
Bro, I just said
I'm just saying that age range. I'm trying to get the
Oh,
age
right
range.
now, like if I had a 40-year-old 20 years ago, they'll be 65.
No, I'm trying to get like, I'm big on estimates and
Okay.
like percentages.
Analytics. I get it.
So I'm looking at the analytics. Like, what was you think? What age range do you remember? Most of the women who did this.
At least from
I got my follow-up
I want
question.
to. I want to say like from 27 and up.
So I mean, but you see them more over 30, or they were like
I can't
still in their
bro.
20s.
Yeah, but see, you're getting kind of stuck into like the minutia of it, because he literally say in his 20 plus year career of doing it, he's seen it from the young to the old. So
Sure.
it's
Sure.
not even
Correct. I didn't keep
a
a
majority.
tally. Yeah.
He's saying that 90% of the women, regardless of age, was doing it.
Yep.
So they were being taught from a young
Yep.
But
till
that's-
the old were even coming
That's
in
what
and
I'm
doing
trying to
it.
say, because
So it's not a particular age range that's doing it.
Well, I'm trying to-
90% of women were doing it.
well, I'm getting to you breaking down the
Okay.
statistics, because if it's not the age range, it could be the culture.
That's what I'm saying.
Because some people
I never
in certain
said only
cultures-
youngsters did it. I said 90% of women.
Well, I
in
get it.
general.
I'm just saying. I wanted to get to the next.
At
level
least
of-
here in America, we don't know about
Right, that's what I'm getting
foreign
at. 'Cause
countries.
I'm saying, like my mother aged in them. I keep bringing her up,
Yeah.
because those are good examples. Like
Sure.
their age range, they were born in the early 30s.
Okay.
30, 31. My mother was born 34.
Okay.
Like my father to her was like, Cloney, what is it? What's that? Those two guys, and Batman and Robin. Like they were
Yeah.
a team.
Yeah.
I got
Bonnie
it.
and Clyde.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
said earlier, they were a team that was unbreakable. Like
Right.
my mother adored my dad. Like she'll do anything for him.
So what you trying to
Vice
get to?
versa. So my whole point is like that age era of the silent era, you didn't see that much of. Well, I gotta stand some. Like I've heard them talk all
True.
the time.
Remember, the topic is how do you deal with breakups?
Yeah.
Where
I'm
you
just
going?
somewhere. I'm going somewhere.
Yeah, but
Bring it back.
I'm going
lay the
somewhere.
play, dog. Like
I'm going somewhere.
One more time for the sound effect.
like you heard the left hand not knowing the right hand. You got real triggered, dog.
Yeah.
No, because
He kept it to the left. To the left. To the left.
I interject. I'll let you keep going because I got some things I want to
Okay.
ride
You
off.
need some sugar cane, bro.
Let's
go.
I want to rattle off a little later.
Yeah. But that's majority, right?
Right.
So I remember once I started seeing the trend, I started educating the guys. Some listened, and most of them were like, "Oh, I trust her. I trust her." Even me, when I got married, I never thought of opening a separate account. I was like, "Oh no, I trust her.
Right,
She's my
right.
wife because I'm in love at the time." Da-da-da. So I don't know if it's because of an emotion or you just trust the person 100%. Because if you're going to get married, you're going to trust them 100%, right? Ideally, right? But
Yeah.
I think, yeah, and I think just now I'm gonna take a little side,
Please.
real quick trip journey. I think that is catered more to just our fundamental understanding of things. Whereas when we get in relationships as men, we have this, our genetic coding is, it's our duty to take care of our family.
correct.
And because that's our duty,
Here's my paycheck.
we don't think, oh, we got to keep something away from our family.
Yeah.
Because we're
Right.
genetically coded to take care of the family.
Correct.
So it doesn't make sense for us to keep something on the side
And that's
if
why-
our whole DNA is set up to take care
That's why I
of.
say it must
Correct.
be. It's a cultural.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with the women.
It's a
that-
cultural and a
Hold on. But you didn't let me finish the other half of that, because that's the man side.
Yeah.
Whereas the women's side, it's not in their DNA to financially take care of the family. It's in their DNA to
Nurture.
emotionally take care of the
Right.
family.
But not
So if it's
physically.
right, if it's not out there to go out there and make the bread, it's there to hoard the bread, to make sure the bread is financially taken care of.
Correct.
Then it makes a little bit more sense of, okay, if I got to distribute the bread and make sure
Yeah.
it's here, let me make sure there's enough bread for everything. Now I've done that. Let me build our nest egg to make sure there's bread over here on the side.
So they're like the accountant of the family.
Right. So now, okay, let me just put some over here to make sure there's bread over here just in
For a rainy
case
day.
for a rainy day.
Yeah.
And I think that part later in generations might have got perverted or
Exactly.
twisted, and instead of making sure there's enough for the rainy day for
Right.
the family, they're making sure there's enough for me. Exactly. And I think that's where the perversion started.
If I may,
But-
I
but-
think, especially looking at depends. Sorry to say this. What Truth was saying, I think I agree. Sorry, in a bit, because let's just you don't know how much that hurt, Truth.
Don't worry.
It kind of hurts. Here's why: because certain generations went through depression,
Right.
and wars, right?
Right.
So women had to start savings and what have you. Even the culture back then, when you had a husband who was a drunk or a gambler, the woman would still take care of the I guess the finances. They had to say, okay, now I got to put money to the side without them knowing, so we can make sure we have a roof over our head, even
Right.
though he's drinking
Because his habits might-
he
right.
has bad habits. Well, the woman, whatever it is, and we got 12 kids. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that's where
Right.
it started.
It-
around
right.
that time
That makes
frame.
sense. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay. But then we still got to get back to it.
yeah.
How do you handle a breakup in a situation where
Oh.
you're ready to go and she's not? Because that was the topic.
The first thing is I gotta make sure I'm financially stable to say, okay, I can afford to get my own place where I'm not dependent on her salary as well, right? To calculate, okay, if I get a 1-bedroom or a studio or whatever it may be, right? I gotta make sure, okay, can I cover the cost to move in, be there for the first 2 months until I continue to get payroll. That's the financial side. Emotionally, once you checked out, you checked out. That's the
Yeah.
hard part, though, because if you're still living with that person, the atmosphere change, right? The feelings, like even when you're walking or you're saying something or asking a question, now it's not that sweetness anymore. It's that,
Right.
it's like a razor. And you like, F this,
Yeah.
you know, after a while.
How you leave two drops of milk in a container?
Right.
You know what?
Who left the light on? How many times? I paid
Everything's
a
an
bill here,
argument.
you know?
Everything's an argument.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's when I start seeing that it's time to go. I'm like, okay, because especially if you have kids involved, now you gotta also think, okay, as a responsible parent, I don't want my kids to see those type of arguments over nothing. I don't want that to scar them.
Exactly.
You know?
Right. But now you're a little bit of,
He's a scumbag.
because if you're sitting there and you're ready to go,
Yeah.
but now you're like, I got to make sure I'm financially stable, which logically that makes sense. However, if this person doesn't even know that that's the case, you're now stringing along their feelings until
that's
you
wrong.
get.
You gotta have that conversation with them. You're like, look, give me a timeline to get out of here.
To an emotional creature.
When
Does that ever work out?
When your money's no. When your money's right, you have that conversation.
Oh yeah, but until then, you already know you're checking
So
out.
you gotta play dumb. You gotta be like,
Which means you stringing them along.
Well, you got no other choice besides living in the street.
He's a scumbag.
It's not a scumbag move. It's survival. Survival.
He's a scumbag.
I get it.
There's a lot of homeless on the street.
Yeah.
And they say more than 50% are the men, not female.
Oh, I agree.
It's growing though. More women are starting to be either homeless or in shelters because they're breaking
that
up
brought up
early.
another topic, but
Yeah.
I'm not even going to left us on that.
Especially,
I don't get how women are
military.
homeless. Doesn't make sense.
Yes.
Anyway, okay, so we're ready to see where
He's a scumbag.
it's gonna go. So
Let's go, Truth Seeker.
What do you do in that situation? You're ready to check out. She has no idea. She knows things might be bad, but she's still emotionally attached. So she thinks things might be bad, but they're worth saving. She still thinks things are still okay. Yeah. But you're out. You're done.
So she's trying, but he's not.
Right.
Okay.
Right. How do you deal with that breakup? How do you get out of that? Or what do you do to get out of that?
Well, I got like a personal, story because mine is parallel to that. What happened, in my past. Well, first of all, I really, really believe in marriage. The foundation of family, being, raising children. Having one person doing it, it's always going to be more difficult. Always. So I don't promote to leave. But if you have to, if there's abuse or physical or mental, you may have to, you should go. But I just think that the world today I just have to do the spill first. I just think in this current day, it's become more fashionable to split quick.
The easy out. First that easy button.
Right. Because like I said, my parents, I keep bringing them up, man. That's a model that I'll never forget in my life.
Right,
man.
right. Very impactful on you.
Hell and back. And they, to the death, did them apart. My mother's still alive. God bless her. She's in her 90s. My father left. He died 12 years ago. He was in his 80s. But my whole point is,
don't be saying your father left, man.
I'm like, where'd he go? Where is he? Florida? He passed on.
Right. But, make it sound like
he left us. He's not left us.
Like him over here. No, your father passed.
Stayed there till the end, man.
Exactly.
Until his very last breath. I was literally there.
Okay.
Right.
But my whole point is, you don't see that much now. It's like today it's like microwave. I call it the microwave relationship. It's, 2 minutes is up.
But true.
But I'm sorry.
Let me ask you this. Now, forgive me for interrupting, but I've spoken and back in the banking world were so many elderly folks, right? Similar to your mom and dad. Okay. Oh, yeah, I lived with her for X amount of years. But there was like no love, like sex, no emotion. This is more like it's a convenience that because our monies are tight, we have to stay together, right? Or just to raise the kids, one or the other. Is it still fair though?
Do you think it's a cultural thing in the United States?
Generational thing.
Not just a generational, but do you think it's a cultural thing? Excuse me, because a lot of people in the West, in the Eastern nations, like the Middle East and Algeria. That's it. Arabic, Northern African or Northeast African.
Yeah.
They still have in India. They still have like dowry and certain traditions that.
But that's because of religion.
They build up for that moment, that marriage.
Right, but
Like
that's
they've been
religion,
saving, and you're gonna marry that guy over his family, and we're gonna come together. You're gonna bring your goats. We're gonna bring our chicken.
But that's forced by the parents because
Exactly.
a lot of the younger
No,
generation
no,
are
hold
like,
up.
we don't want this, but it's tradition of
I
our
know.
parents.
That's certain dowries, but there's some people who they love their culture.
Yeah.
They love that tradition. They love that the way to pass them on to other families. 'Cause
Right.
We don't know
they
the
like that.
percentage.
Right,
We don't
right.
know the percentage.
I don't
bro.
know. I really
Right,
don't know off
right.
the top of my head.
Could be
But
1%. You know what I mean? We
Right,
don't know.
but even
I know a
outside
lot
of
of
the
people still that are young and they still
right,
want to do it. They
Right.
still like that tradition.
Okay.
But it's not to the point where they're like, I don't know the guy.
Right.
Because a lot of times these families meet each other.
At the meeting, it's like, we getting married next week.
No, they meet each other from young. Like they know each other. They groom each other.
Oh, yes.
Right.
I seen that. Yeah, yeah.
And even in old England, they used to do that. Like they groom certain families by the time they're 16 and 17.
The wealthy.
The wealthy.
Yeah, the lords.
Right? The nobles and the lords.
But even in a lot of those situations, because I think I know where you're going. If I'm wrong, forgive me and correct me. But even in a lot of those situations, there's only a small percentage of those that it begins with love. So you still,
I think if you don't have much, and you come from, you got both your family backgrounds come from like not poor, but
But even the
modest, very modest, a modest lifestyle. Like the average person that with the blue collar or less than blue collar per se, farm families,
Working class.
hands-on type of family to survive.
you would think they have a better chance for love, though.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's what I hold on to. I think that's the truth of the matter. If you don't have much to worry about other things in the world, but survival and everyday life, there's not much to not love in that person.
But
if you guys
if
have
you-
so much, it's so much similar.
I know, and
you guys
we're
are so
getting
grounded.
we're getting off a bit, but in those types of in those Eastern cultures and relationships, if you have 4 daughters and you don't have much, but if there's people around you who have more, you're going to more than likely attempt to try to marry off several of your daughters to get financial gain for your family.
Yeah, but that's
it's not.
That's very anecdotal, though. That's not the whole
No,
society.
it's not.
But that's not the whole society in certain
Right,
nations.
but
like Ethiopia,
but see now
specifically,
I'm not dealing in definitives right now at all. So to even dismiss it as being anecdotal is that's an easy way out. What I'm saying, because I literally just now said that it's not the majority. I'm saying that if you have several daughters and you don't have much, there's a chance, there's a greater chance. I didn't say you're automatically going to do that. There's just a greater chance.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you're a hardworking father, you got 4 daughters and you're an Eastern father with those traditions and you're a small-time farmer, but down the road, there's several fathers that have sons and they have acres and hectares and
Goats
like
and all that stuff.
all types of wealth.
Yep.
Are you literally gonna say, nah, all 4 of my daughters are in love with poor people down here? Or as a father, you gonna say, you know what? I understand y'all love these, but at least one of y'all, there's an opportunity for our family to gain more wealth.
But then there's certain caste systems that don't even allow them to get out of that caste to go with somebody who has more wealth than this.
But I'm
family,
saying
the
as
farm
you
family.
as a father.
Oh no, yeah, but yeah.
Okay.
I
So
respect
there's so that's what I'm saying. So it's not a definitive. So if it's not a definitive, then it's not anecdotal. It's literally if you have the opportunity to do it, you're going to take your opportunity. It becomes an opportunistic society, not an anecdotal one.
No.
So again, we've gotten way out. I'm asking you, how do you deal with breakups?
Lord,
If you're dating somebody or you're married, how do you get out of it?
I wanted to ask you that earlier because there's 2 different ways. There's 2 different categories of breakup. Like it could be in the marriage versus someone who's just dating.
Okay.
So I wanted to know earlier which way you want me to go with it. You want me to go with my realistic story? Or
You're living together. That's all that matters.
I can tell you from my experience.
It's up to
Where it
you.
went.
It's
And
up
it
to you.
was-
If you want it,
Well,
this is group therapy.
So
So,
my-
as personal as you want to get, or as ambiguous as you want to get, it's
Alright,
up to you.
Let's do the ambiguous first, and I'll tell you.
Yeah, just tell everybody there, Batman. I'm going to give you my fake story. Like, just do it, dog.
So I'm more strong leaning towards having to personally, like Heavy Duty said, just gotta fake it before you want to get out of there. If you're really not feeling the person anymore, 100%, and you want to be respectful. You just don't want to pick up and just leave the person, or if you can't really afford to pick up and leave. You know what I mean? But it gets tense because I've been there where it's like, I don't even want to be here no more. This is crazy. Because if the other person doesn't want to get therapy, if the other person don't want to try to talk it out, the person don't want to see the elders of your family, like let's talk to mommy, let's talk to dad, let's go to your dad.
But even if they did, and it's still not working, now what?
Then it's not for you guys anymore to be together because it's not.
What would you do?
I would literally try to tell the person when the time is right that hey.
When is the time is right? That's the question.
I feel the time is right when you're financially set to go to live on your own.
Press that button.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
You get too much.
He's a scumbag. He's a scumbag.
I was
He's a
going to say, because
scumbag.
when I said it, I got that button.
Yeah.
No, because
He was going to get it.
Yeah.
if we see that, but this is the perpetuation of where I'm going with the homeless on the street and men being more because women. Listen, hold on. Let me say this.
Inconsequential.
The majority of I don't want to say it, but the majority of people who are getting and filing divorces is female. It's the female of the relationship. It's filing more divorces in the
Agreed.
Americans
Yes.
than anyone else.
So what's your point behind that?
My whole point is the men have to scramble now if they didn't, like you said,
Correct.
put money away and say, because they were thinking about the family, like bringing the bacon home.
Yep.
They weren't thinking about, let me make my own account. I did do that though. I did when I was younger. In my relationship when I first started with my former wife, is that, and we both agreed upon. We have a joint account, checking, and then we both have savings, and we have our own checkings. Okay, so we had like 3 accounts in a sense. But the joint one was we paid all the bills for the house.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, what age did you guys get married?
I was at the time I was like 30. I got married late, so we were like 33ish, 32.
And you see what that is? That's life and experience.
Right.
The average person doesn't get married typically that much later.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because me and my wife now, we did very similar. My wives beforehand, no clue, didn't do nothing like that.
Yeah.
And you could tell the difference. Like the maturity level, the understanding of finances, the understanding of communication, all that stuff came from the knocks and bruises that me and the previous administrations went through from not doing that.
But what Heavy Duty said earlier, he said there's a big majority of females
Yes.
that were married
Yes.
and for years saying, let me get a secret account.
Yes. Yes.
So that means they're still in this childlike mentality,
Yes.
trying to live as an adult.
Yes.
And that's what's creating these people lining up for a divorce.
Because you got to
Every
remember,
week there's somebody getting
you got to remember, there's also a thing where because there's not a lot of us, meaning fathers in the home in the American tradition and American sense, it's the women that are teaching the women, which means they're passing down the tradition.
I was just about to say that.
And because they're passing it down, they're telling each other
Make sure
the
you have
very
your own
thing
account.
that my wife already knew when she married me, which was don't let the left hand know what the right hand's doing. So they're passing that down. Where are we passing it down? Now, granted, the 3 of us in this room are fathers and we take our job serious.
Correct.
But we're in the minority. fathers in this country is not the majority. It's not. And the government has made it.
I don't think that's factual.
It is.
I think that's
It
a
is.
stereotype.
No.
Got a statistical number on that?
Yes, there are statistics to
I'd love
prove
to see
it.
that.
And dude, all you got to do is one, you can look at the divorce rate in this country, which is well over 70% at this point. And two, you can look at just on the black scale,
you're saying that there's-
just on the black scale alone, and in the once this airs, I'll put the numbers up here. But the black scale alone, the numbers are staggering. How many single mothers are out there raising their kids? You, sir, are the extreme minority, because somebody who has grown up with both their parents in their household as a black family with both parents that lived the entire time, one single unit, no other marriages or divorces, no other kids outside of that marriage until the parents expired, and live like that, extreme minority in our community. Extreme minority. And the government has made that so. That is why there are so many benefits for our community, from government assistance, government aid, things of that nature, that benefit single moms in the community. That's why child support benefits single moms in our community. They don't ask questions of it.
The last statistics I saw, and it was a peak of families that were African American minorities in the U.S. They were in the majority between the 20s. Between the 20s all the way to the 60s.
Dude, it's 2025.
No, I'm saying, hold on. I'm just saying that between
The socialist reform started in the end of the 50s. Where are you going?
I'm saying
We're not even talking about
I'm
that.
saying the time of. You're saying between the 60s or the late 50s?
No, I'm talking about
All the way
today's.
till
I'm talking
now.
about, no, I'm talking about since the 70s, there has been a significant decrease in the families.
I know, but I'm saying, but you're saying that is the majority
Yes.
in the United States?
Yes. Single
I need to
mothers.
see that.
You never knew that?
I know that there's a large percentage, but you can't say that's the majority of minorities
Oh my God.
in the U.S.
Then,
that
okay.
has- I want to pull
Okay.
that right now.
Okay. We don't have time because we have a topic.
Okay.
Stay on topic.
Yes.
And we will discuss that and show it. We will discuss that, but we have a topic.
Go ahead. Let's talk.
Okay? Jesus Christ. Okay. So have you finished how you would break up?
I would have to definitely prepare myself. And
Okay.
Just like me.
And in preparing myself, if I wasn't prepared, yes, I would have to
Fake it till you make it.
be neutral,
Yeah.
be kind.
But in her
Generous,
eyes,
respectful.
she still thinks you guys are together,
I understand.
so you're okay of not saying anything to her, just faking it.
I don't think it's good to do that. Tell you the truth.
Okay.
We got to talk because I did
But
that.
that's your feeling. But what would you do physically? What would you do?
I physically know what I know now, what I went through. I would definitely tell her.
Okay. So you would risk it all.
I would have to.
And
to
get
be
kicked out of the
honorable.
house right then and there.
Hey, you know what? I know that story. It's a true story.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I felt it when we were, when
When
this
it
topic
happened.
was,
I got you.
know,
Realistic.
realistically, I was in a situation where I was thinking one thing and my spouse was thinking a whole different.
I got you. Different mindsets.
So what I was thinking, because prior to us breaking up,
Yep.
that time period was 3 years that I came back from a breakup with her.
Oh. Okay.
So we were broke up before for a couple of years, like long. It was a stretch.
Okay.
I was invited back.
Invited back. I like
I
that.
say that way just like,
Yeah.
because it was like an invite.
Okay.
The way I was, told to,
I got
the
you.
way it was
So
presented. Back
second time. What
Actually,
happened?
that second time, was we both agreed upon, hey dude, we want to get up out of here. We want to go down back south. I don't want to be in New York anymore. And this time I don't want to go to Florida. I want to go to Georgia. So I was still in that mode. That's why I'm here now. So that was my plans from the beginning. I was trying to put money aside for that. I was trying to build myself for that.
Gotcha.
The other person had a whole different, because the way it went down, it was bad because I was actually, we had went through a disagreements of something.
Gotcha.
And it was towards the end of the year, and I was packing like,
yeah, getting ready.
Right, for what my first plan was. But my spouse was thinking,
where you going?
Not only that, because of the climate we were in, she thought it was it. That was it. I wasn't even thinking that.
Bro, how you not gonna think that if you're packing your stuff?
But I listen. Go ahead.
You're packing your stuff, right? Mentally, you're already planning to leave and move to the south.
But that was the year. From the time we planned originally.
So you guys had an agreement like we're gonna end this by a certain time.
No, not end it.
Okay.
Leave.
Oh, leave
that location to go to another location.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Okay,
we had plans to migrate.
Okay,
to move to another state.
Got it.
That was my primary thought process.
Right.
As I was packing to, to get out of there.
Okay.
Because a lot of things were happening towards that during that period. There was a lot of different disagreements between her and I. She probably was thinking, because of the disagreements, he's packing to get up out of here.
So there was a lack of communication.
Period.
Okay, so back to the question that the bear asked.
Right. I would rather up front, listen, baby, this is not working for us.
As long as you're financially stable.
You know what? I don't even care about that anymore. Because at that time, that's what I was more thinking about.
Yeah.
But it made things worse.
Peace over finances.
Thank you. Because you know what? You want me out? You're not feeling me right now? Let me get out of here. Because I'm still literally going through the trauma.
You don't say.
PTSD,
you don't say, truth. You don't say.
Literally, it's traumatic to go through some things like that.
Of course.
You have a child with somebody.
Of course.
You want to be married till the end. You don't want no man. I'm gonna say it live on this YouTube thing. No man gets married. I've been telling people. I've been preaching this for the last 3, 4, 5 years. What person, especially a man, when you know you're getting on your knees to propose to a woman, to give them something you bought that you didn't have to buy
plan to get
at that
divorced.
rate of money that you bought, fellas. You jocks, football players, you guys spent like $30,000 on one ring.
You went to Kmart.
You went to Kmart. More than that.
You know what I'm saying?
You went to Kmart.
Pay more than that.
He went to Kmart, bro.
1.2 million.
Yes,
let's talk about those are the big
yellow carrots. Yellow carrot.
Right? I'm just a little, couple of thousands. You know what I'm saying? The shops that I go to get what I want.
The candy store.
Yeah, it's a candy store compared to what these guys go, and get. But my whole point is, we don't get on our knees and get that rock and propose to this woman,
right?
That you said I want to marry and give her my children to, and she want to have my children with. To think about, well, you know what? I want to get a divorce too. But I don't like this woman. I don't like the way she did this and that and the
when
third.
a woman accepts that ring, she's not going to think, I'm going to divorce him in 5 years.
They're not thinking that.
So what's your point?
My point is that the divorce rate has been filed more by women than men.
Because they have a savings account. They're ready.
Not just that. Why are you getting ready? For what? Like I said, back in the 30s and the 40s.
Because it's taught through them since childhood.
It's a survival mode for them to be together until the end. I'm with my husband.
But just like Bear said, though, it's been taught.
I know he's been cheating.
Bro,
this is my husband.
Like Bear said.
I'm not worried about, he didn't come home tonight. I'm getting a divorce. Oh, he came home late today. I'm getting a divorce.
But it's also like, it's like Heavy Duty said as well. Not only they understand that,
yes.
But after, like what he said, once you have the Great Depression and stuff, and they deal with the husbands who've been drinking and gambling and stuff like
coming
that,
back from military and all that stuff.
those elder stateswomen are like, hey, we dealt with that and we've been ride or dies, but now we don't have to.
Right.
So let's start teaching the younger ones how to be more independent, self-reliant, not to be dependent and ride or dies and things of that nature. So they're taught that. And then once they were taught that in the next generation, they literally kept on teaching that. So they're not taught to be the old way. They've been taught to be the new way, and they've propagated that all the way down through history. And because they're in the household with each other, they keep teaching it. And we're not in the household.
But it's not logical for anyone.
Women are not logical.
Come on, man. They're emotional.
They're emotional.
I understand, but listen. No one gets married to get a divorce, right? Nobody's really thinking about, but there are people that say, I want to get a prenup.
You're talking definitives. Right, so you literally just talked out both sides of your mouth.
But there's people.
You said no one gets married to get divorced, but there are prenups, which means there are people that get married to get divorced.
Right.
That's why they protect themselves.
So,
there are black widows out here, and there's people that literally are like, I want to marry this person so that I could take half by divorcing. So there are people who do it.
Correct. It's a game. It's a hustle.
Some people do that.
It's a hustle, bro. That's why
so
they
you
do
can't
that
deal
more
in
often.
definitives. There are people.
Let me ask you,
but for the majority, that's not the case.
But that, it's not. It's just not logical, and we know that as men. That we're not getting. We're not getting on our knees to give this person.
There's two sides to the coin.
Yeah, bro.
One side is logical, the other side's emotional.
I understand. We got emotions too as men.
Yeah, but we don't use emotion in our rationale.
Correct.
Yeah.
Everybody's logical. Everybody's emotional. Women have logic. Men have emotions.
Correct.
We're talking about your rationale, how you deduce things, how you think, how you make your decisions. Men make their decisions based in logic.
Correct.
Women make their decisions based in emotion.
Correct.
Of course we have emotion.
Yeah.
If our kids die, we're gonna cry. If something happens to our mom or our kids or something, we're going to cry. We have emotion.
Correct.
We're not running around here like Dr. Spock, like, I have no emotion. No.
Yeah, this is your backup.
And then women, I mean, I'm saying something that we both agree.
Let me ask you, Bear, right? We're both fathers of daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Have you or your wife had these type of conversations? Because I know one has a relationship, right? Have she had that info or that input where she was informed to, hey, make sure you put money to the side, have a savings account in case of an emergency?
Absolutely.
Why? And by whom? You or Mama Bear? Or both?
Oh, you talking about my daughter?
Daughters, yeah.
You talking about, wait, have we as parents told our daughters to do that?
Correct. Had that conversation.
We both have, but the conversation comes off differently.
Okay.
I tell her from a logical standpoint, hey, don't be out there on rainy days with nothing. Because it's smart to do.
Logical, right?
Right, it's smart to do.
Logical.
The wife tells her from the left hand, right hand. Because my youngest daughter's in a relationship.
Yes.
And she's like, don't be out there depending on no man. Make sure you have yours over here. Because if it goes sour, you got to be able to support yourself.
Pause 1 second.
Two different things.
What about her boyfriend? Has anyone said that to him?
Right.
More than likely not.
Good question.
More than likely not. Because I didn't say that shit to him. I doubt his family said anything to him.
That's a cultural thing.
Is it?
It is.
Is it? So
this-
hold on.
no,
So do
hold
you
on.
believe that
No, what I'm saying,
African?
this
So do you
behavior-
believe? So do
this
you believe
behavior
that
that we-
African fathers are out there telling their African sons to put money away from their wives just in case something happens?
No.
What about Indian fathers? Do you think that they're telling their sons to do that?
Oh, wait, let me back up what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. Not put money aside just for my wife, for the family. They know they're supposed to be the providers for the family. Most of these African traditional families are breadwinners for the
And
family.
we do that too. The men are programmed here the same way.
I'm saying this: women telling their daughters, make sure you be more independent. Don't depend on a man. If they, put money away for a rainy day for yourself. That's become a Western cultural ideology.
We understand that. We understand that truth. Like nobody's saying you're lying or you don't know what you're talking about.
Correct.
We get that.
And that has springboarded to those nations now.
We get
they're doing
It's that lack of
we
financial
get
literacy.
that.
Financial literacy.
We get that.
That's what it is.
But nobody's questioning on if that's not the truth or not. What we're saying is, even though that exists, what does that have to do with how you're going to govern yourself when breaking up?
So,
Because if I ask you, how do you break up? And you turn around and say, the cultures are different. That's not answering the question.
Right.
listen, me governing myself, when I break up, we should be ready. We shouldn't be trying to get ready to get ready.
You should be. But like you said, in the culture, if you, me, heavy duty, are built and the DNA is telling us, take care of our family. You know what? When I make $100, $99 goes to the family and $1 goes toward my transportation so I can take care of my family.
Correct.
Right.
What are we being ready for? You see what I'm saying?
401k,
May I for 1 second?
your job, you got 401k.
You just shared
Of
with
course,
me.
but that's what
You
I'm.
want to put some money under the pillow a little bit.
Okay, if I may
For a
ask
rainy
you a
day?
question. You share with me today that you have a wonderful son. When he's up in age, 22, 25, whenever he starts dating, and he's serious, he says, Dad, this is going to be my fiance. Are you going to have this type of conversation?
Oh, yeah.
You better.
Why?
Before,
Why?
Now.
Well, why?
well,
Why?
well, the type of conversation I'm going to have
Uh-huh.
is I need to meet the family. I need to know who they are.
Besides the family part.
No, we
I'm
don't
talking
know
about
each
the
other. I need to know who these
finance.
people is.
You guys know each other. That's fine.
Uh-huh.
What we're talking about is when women have that side account. Are you going to tell your son,
I have a side account.
chances are she already has one. You need to, and you got to make sure you have one.
I would tell them how to make money in a month and putting it into a money vehicle to triple your money, like a trust.
But just to piggyback off of what Heavy Duty's saying, because that's smart. That is smart. But are you going to tell him to have money on the side that she doesn't know about?
No, I don't think I would tell him that. I would tell him optionally.
That's the problem.
Right. I would.
That's the
But I would
problem.
tell him like, listen, this is the world we live in today. Yes, women are out here doing these things.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So how you going to
But I
protect
was
yourself?
saying you optionally have to protect yourself.
Okay.
I would tell him, listen, go get a trust. I've been saving the trust already. for
It's
you.
still a savings.
Put more
That's a
money-
fancy word for a
Right,
savings,
put
right?
your money
Pretty
in certain,
much.
That's
just
all
put
it
your
is.
money into certain money vehicle savings.
The savings
that's
not in your
fine.
government
Oh,
name.
this is because if I get divorced, yeah, this money
Bro,
right here.
I understand.
My
You
trunk,
get an
you know,
irrevocable
with a
trust
lock and key
account.
down in my backyard,
Yeah.
in the grass.
I get it. I get that. So
Because I
you're
don't want to put that mentality in
But
his
you're-
head of talking like that.
But that's what you're
that's
up
the
against.
problem.
I would tell him,
You
listen.
don't understand that.
I'm
That's the problem we have.
I'm telling him, listen, these things may happen. You don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
Right.
So yeah.
Rainy days.
Right, so you're going to have a protection fund or some sort of security fund or something that you have.
For him or for them? Meaning him and his family or for just him?
You,
What are you telling them?
For you.
Okay, so one separate.
For him, yeah.
So is,
So separate.
is his future wife going to know about that?
That
emergency
protection.
fund, that protection account.
I personally, I would, because it depends on who we dealing with. We don't know the other person's child.
But according to what you just said, you literally said that this was a Western culture thing, right? And then right after that, you literally hold on. You said that it was a Western culture thing, right? But the very next thing after you said that, you said, and it's propagating to the East. So by the time your son's at that age, it will have propagated more to the East. So even if he marries somebody, it's a chance that he meets somebody from the East who has that Western mentality.
It's a chance, but not a.
So you're not going to teach him that?
Yeah, but we can't put everything in the majority. You can't say that. Because there's gonna be examples from over here, over there.
I can't do this show anymore, bro. I can't.
So you're just gonna not risk telling them that?
No, I'm telling you that I'll give him all the options of type of people who are out there. I'll tell him to stay away from those type of people. As a female, as a male. Yeah, if you're trying to date somebody to be true. Why would you tell your child
time out
to go for a woman?
Time out.
Has your parents when you got married, did you
have you listened to your parents when they said don't date a certain type of person?
Yeah, I did.
So you've never dated anybody or messed with anybody outside of what your parents said don't mess with? Don't lie.
I never married them.
Oh no!
I never married them.
See, now you playing semantics.
No, listen.
Because you said you told your son to stay away from.
Hold on, I only got married once.
Yeah, but you're playing semantics now.
Hold on. I'm gonna tell you the truth about me. I only got married once.
And but you said stay away from.
Finish. I got married once.
Okay.
And that was the only time I wanted to get married.
Okay.
I knew the person. I knew the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because I dated the person before I got married for more than 4 years.
Sure.
So I knew what I was getting into.
Did your parents approve? Did your parents approve of the relationship?
My father was cool with it. My mother said, I didn't even know you were dating. Because in her mind, nobody's good enough for her children. She don't want to pay attention to certain things. She's old school.
Okay, one small question.
If she ain't Seventh-day Adventist, don't even bring them home.
Okay, one small question.
Like a Catholic mama. She's not Catholic.
Okay,
my mother's one of those people.
One small question
not
for you.
Not Adventist?
Remind me, Heavy Duty, and the audience listen out there.
Listen, people.
Okay, how did that work out for you?
We divorced. But my whole point is, who wanted to get a divorce? That's what I'm trying to tell you.
You was packing the bags.
I did. You see, now you're mixing up the whole story.
You literally said.
Hold on. See, no, don't go there.
Okay.
What did I tell you I was packing bags for?
To move to the South with the
Because
missus.
of what?
Because you guys discussed it.
Right. So that had nothing to do with that. You go going in the lane about. You trying to say I was leaving her? Packing my bags to leave her? That's what you.
No.
Your bags.
Why were you packing your bags? Why?
Her and I already made
a discussion
3 years before.
A plan.
We planned it.
Okay.
Plan to separate?
Move together.
To
a different state.
Right. I got that.
Because the job situation.
Yeah, I know. I got that. Okay. When she didn't want to move.
It wasn't that she didn't want to move. That wasn't it.
Okay.
So you create a. Let me say what happened. I don't like when people do this, man.
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
Because you're leading the witness.
I'm literally saying go ahead. I'm no longer leading. I said go ahead.
Long story short, the time frame of me finishing that contract job I had was coming to an end anyway.
Copy.
That new year was the year that began because it was November, December, and January.
Okay.
The last days at that company.
Okay.
For me. That next year coming, that January, was the year of us supposed to being out of there.
Yeah. She agreed
out of New York. And we agreed all of this. We talked about it already.
Right.
We came down here, visited, saw friends, came to Marietta. I didn't know Georgia.
Copy.
Right.
This was 2016.
Right.
Copy.
Plans already in the making.
Right.
But that part of the year is when we had a fight. We had an argument.
Right.
We were having other issues before.
Right.
Okay.
So I basically made an ultimatum to her. I said, listen, I'm not going to be paying for bills here. You know what I'm saying? If you don't do A, like we've been talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I was trying to like...
As we agreed.
No,
we
no.
were.
Right. But not the move.
Okay.
It was about
Something
some other
else.
personal
Okay.
stuff that...
No worries.
Not personal, but...
I understand.
Things that she was trying... I felt like I was being played.
Okay.
And I was like,
By your wife.
big time.
Your wife.
All right.
Okay.
Wow.
The woman that you are married to.
At the time.
She was playing me.
That you're supposed to be taken care of. That you're supposed to communicate with. And that you're supposed to be
I was.
the...
I always try to communicate. She said
that you're the head, that you're supposed to be, that you're supposed to be the head of the household, that you're supposed to make
I've
sure
heard all of that.
you're supposed to make sure that she's financially taken care of, that you're getting played.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a situation that,
Okay.
yo,
Okay. So you gave an ultimatum.
just to stir her up. Yeah.
You can't. Once you do an ultimatum,
You
you
see,
gotta live or
you-
die
you
by the
don't see-
sword.
I did it.
Uh-huh.
I stood by that.
Yeah, but
Okay, I stood
you
by my
basically
oath,
just
but I did
said
it
you
to-
wanted you weren't
You know when
planning
you're trying to, when you're trying to get somebody, because you know that
like
their
an
personality.
emotional. Yeah.
You know their personality.
Uh-huh.
It's like boot camp when we went to boot camp. You know what I'm saying? You want everybody on the same page.
Okay.
We don't got no time to put the lipstick on.
Deodorant. All that.
War's taking place. We need to go
Okay.
from A to B.
Okay.
So I started to get in that mode with her. Like, she ain't listening. She ain't getting it. So I said, let me, give her a umph. Listen, this is gonna happen this way. If I don't get this, if this doesn't happen specifically the way we talked about it, because you've been playing me for the past couple of months to turn it into a year to 2 years now. This is something totally different from us moving.
Gotcha.
I got it.
Gotcha.
So I was just like, this has to get done
Yeah.
because you playing me.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm not I'm paying also for things here,
Right.
and I'm not seeing myself on certain paperwork.
I get you.
So my whole point is, I had to say something more like
Aggressive.
shock value.
Whoa,
Okay.
So
wait
I
a
said,
minute.
listen, January comes, I ain't doing no more of that.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You don't see... Whoa. You don't see yourself on certain paperwork.
Forget about it.
But that's a significant part.
I know,
You were already married,
of course,
and you weren't on paperwork.
but that's
Of
I wanna talk
whatever
about
that,
the
of whatever that was.
for whatever it was.
Yeah. That-
Exactly. That's how I was looking at the whole.
Did that officially hurt you from like emotionally?
No, it's-
Or like a slap in the face, or
It
was
was-
it more financial? Like, yo,
No, it was
whatever that paperwork was for, that's messed up. I'm not in it.
It was a slap in the face.
Like a respect as a husband.
Right, because I came back from being away.
Left hand,
You know what I'm saying?
right hand.
Exactly what we've been talking about,
So
bro.
I've been away for a while. I came back to the situation,
We just
and she was like,
we get it. We get it.
like
We get it,
my
man.
way to highway type mentality.
Right.
And I was like,
you know
nah,
why?
are
Because
we
she
still
got
not
she
agreeing?
got this from like other females.
Yeah, not just that.
right?
Her moms, mommy in your head, it's a whole bunch of stuff.
This is what we've been talking
My mother
about.
was a single mother, blah blah blah. So I get it.
But,
Trust me,
but
I
what
know.
I'm saying
Listen,
is, this is what we're saying.
I
is
know.
from
Listen,
little ones.
Everybody knows who they sign up for.
No,
Get
not
involved.
all the time.
Well, a lot of
sometimes
people-
like smoking
more-
mirrors.
Okay, but most wise men and women know the person.
Hopefully,
They
yes,
see the person who they marry,
sure,
or the person they're trying to get involved with.
sure,
I tested all the waters, so I know who I was getting involved with. I knew the good, the bad, and the ugly from this person.
sure.
But did you?
Why the hell am I gonna get on my knees to propose to him if I didn't know that? I knew everything negative.
So then why did you have to provide an ultimatum to somebody if you already knew what she was
I
about,
didn't
what she was
provide an
going to do?
ultimatum. Oh, you mean
You just did say you did.
You mean you talking about that situation? Well, yeah.
So you knew she was capable of that?
I don't know what she's capable of.
Then you didn't know her. You just said I didn't know she was going to capable of it. Then you didn't know.
Listen, you know the person's
You
parameter.
think you know.
No, I know the person's
You think.
parameter.
Yes.
You think.
You don't know all the doors, all the
Listen,
closet
what
doors.
I'm trying to say is I know
information-wise.
I know the personality.
First of all, you know what they want you to know.
Yeah, but if they take themselves to a certain limit with you, right?
You know.
You probably didn't know it was going to go that far, but you know the behavior of the person.
You know.
You get what I'm saying? So
All
you
of
know,
us.
Well, hold on. Let me say this. You know the person if you push those buttons.
Yeah.
That you know the limit of how far they would go. If you're pushing certain buttons.
Yeah.
So then you purposely pushed those ultimatum buttons knowing that she was going to snap.
Because it
right?
didn't happen before, yeah. But they came back around after they snapped. Because they realized...
Well, when it came back around, was it worse?
I would say that it went... Yeah, because it took years for the person to come back and say...
So then what was the true purpose of you pressing the ultimatum buttons? You purposely wanted to eject out of the marriage?
Nah, I didn't want to. I was just trying to get her to say, listen, man...
Get on page.
We gotta. The house is on fire. We gotta jump out this window.
Yeah.
We can't play this game no more. And
Why?
I was serious about it.
Why?
Because.
Is it because you didn't want to do it no more, or was there physically a reason why it couldn't be done anymore? Was there an option that it could have been done, or you just didn't want to do it anymore?
I don't know what you're talking about done anymore, but I'm not talking about the relationship.
Okay.
I'm talking about the situation.
All right. You said that y'all had made the plan to move. Everything was, the contract was coming up, and this is what y'all had discussed, and everything was laid out. But was there an option where you didn't? You could have did it the way that she wanted it to be done? Could you have done it her way? Being the elder state person and more wise,
more diplomatic, I could have took longer.
But you wanted it your way.
In a sense, because it took a while. It took a while for the person to really.
So you're asking if he could have adjusted to her.
Right. Could you have adjusted to...
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyone
I'm
can.
just talking about logic now.
Yeah, that's fair.
But my whole point is this. For how long, bro?
That's
right. Too long, bro.
Right. But see,
because
now you're turning it down towards emotion.
No, because it gets... No.
Yes.
You know why I'm saying for how long?
Because logically, I'm asking you, can you do it?
No, but
not how do you feel about doing it?
No.
When you start asking how long, that's a temperament gauge. That's how long can I keep up doing this? That's emotion.
No, the reason why
it is.
Let me say why
it is.
I know what you mean, but when I'm saying how long, it has nothing to do with that specific scenario.
Okay.
Because I'm looking at the bigger picture. We got a son who has special needs.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
There's things that he needs.
Right.
It ain't about
he can only get from the south?
It's not about from the south or from the north or from the east or the west. I'm
Okay.
talking about internally.
Yeah.
He needs certain nutrients on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
He needs certain physical therapy on a day-to-day basis.
And he can only get it from where y'all were going to move?
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
I don't.
I'm trying to put you on the same page. Hold on. So, while in the relationship,
okay,
in the long run,
I
see because in the short run, those steps are not being taken.
Right.
So, in the long run, you're either gonna end up a certain way without getting these things that you should be getting, or he's gonna go another way where while he's getting these things and improving. That's what I'm saying.
So you couldn't have stayed there and made sure he got those things?
It's not that. No, it's not. I'm just saying, in the long run, the way the person thinks, right? It's like they want to take their time with everything. And it's just prolonging.
They're reactive, not proactive on the situation.
Not real. They're more like, let the person grow on its own. Let the child grow on its own type thing.
So it sounds like you guys had two different mindsets.
Right.
Your goal was, let's get help.
Philosophies on how to fix the situation.
Exactly. That's
because
what
I was getting those things for him.
Right.
And he was improving.
You can see the
difference.
Right.
The escalation.
Right.
Sure.
But when I put the ball in your hand, or when you have the ball,
you retarded the growth of the situation.
I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that.
You didn't. I did. So you could continue.
I don't want to say it like that because a lot of people think that when I tell the story.
Yeah.
It's I want to say the person, the tactics of that style of doing things.
Yeah.
It's
opposite of yours.
It just harms the situation rather than.
Okay.
In
your opinion or facts?
Facts.
Okay.
It's like a ball player.
You sound like one of these younger generations. How is harms worse than what I said or better than what I said? You're playing around words. But okay, if that makes you feel better, then that's fine.
I didn't want to go there on this. Anyway.
Okay. But you literally, you said.
I said a lot.
I
said a lot.
I don't want to say what you said, but I'm going to say what they did harms the situation. Sure.
It's the same difference.
If it makes you feel
whatever
better.
you were gonna say,
it's the same difference.
Whatever.
Yeah,
it is.
All I'm saying is it slowed the situation. Now, if you're one of these newer people that the word retard was literally means slowed.
Not the word I was trying to get away from. Is that the actions of the person
was that
it slowed the progress. Right. Yours improved, hers slowed.
No, but
you said yours improved, hers harmed.
No, what
I'm getting out of the topic. Let's get back on topic.
Okay.
What I was trying to say is that
if it makes you feel better, sir.
It's not about it. It's the facts. The facts is this that that person would deny that and say, nope, that's not what I was trying to do, or not. That's not how I was going about it.
Okay, two different game plans.
Because I was told that what I did. Didn't do that. The person
so there was no progress, even though you seen it.
Told by professionals or like family members?
By that person.
Right, because she was emotionally like, I don't want to admit that there was progress. I get it.
No, she saw the progress.
Right, but she's not going to admit it.
No, she's saying that the progress came from his own doings and the glory of God.
Right.
Okay.
I get it.
It's a lot, bro. It's a lot.
Well, proper program, medicine, and all that stuff. It was like
the person is in the medical field, so the person knows.
No.
I was just doing herbalistic type stuff.
The person is an emotional creature and prideful. I get it.
No matter what job.
Because my ex is literally the same way. I get it. I know exactly what you're talking about. Without even going into detail, I know exactly what you're talking about.
The person's not here, so I'm not trying to go too heavy.
No.
I will on mine, fucking dirtbag. Because I don't give a shit. I'll talk bad over the fuck I want. And she know who I'm talking about. Michelle. I don't give a shit.
I don't have nothing against.
I keep my gun loaded with bullets, and his name's on all of them. Cause I'm
just saying, personally,
I ain't scared of nobody.
It's not that I'm scared of nothing.
Sure, we understand.
No, I'm not. The thing
sure,
is,
we understand.
I have a certain respect for the person because even right now, I would still be mad. I wouldn't even mind if she would have said, "Hey,
if she called you today, say, hey, let's try this again."
Under certain circumstances, it has to be.
Okay,
but
that's because her body counts low. The body counts low. That's why.
No, it's never gonna happen.
I'm not even gonna go there, bro.
He snickered on me.
It's never gonna happen. It's just never gonna happen.
Got it.
Yeah.
We do two different ways.
Can we go on to the next?
So anyway, to answer the
4 hours later,
the question itself.
Where's my SpongeBob?
Would you influence your child, your family member, your nephew, your cousins, a male to say, hey, listen, this is the world we live in today. Take advantage of putting aside, some money for yourself.
So the question I asked you earlier, are you going to tell your son, God willing, if he decides to marry one day, are you going to say, son, make sure you have your own savings account just for emergencies, or if it doesn't work out, you have money to get your own apartment, car, whatever it is. Are you going to say something like that?
I would, yes, something like that. But it won't be like, because it's an oxymoron. It's an oxymoron to say, get married, but have something on the side because you may get a divorce.
It's defense, bro.
And you might have to.
It's not an oxymoron.
It's definitely not an oxymoron.
It's not an oxymoron.
It's not.
Don't
No.
get married,
It's illogical.
I'll
but
tell
it's
him not to get married.
it's
Don't
an
get married.
emotional trigger.
On
It's
paper?
what they literally do.
I would tell.
Truth. If you decide
if you really want to be
truth,
with women, and you want to have fun
right?
for the rest of your life, sir,
That's fine.
don't get married.
Truth.
Because all you're doing is setting yourself up for something that you don't really want to. It's not. It's gonna be.
He don't get it.
Truth.
I get
Let
it.
me ask you a question.
No, I'm not
Hold
getting
on. Here's a boomerang. If you just said a few minutes ago, my brother, that if that certain person from the past says, "Hey, let's try again," you telling me you're not gonna have your own account without telling her in case of an emergency, in case something like this happens again?
I would do something like that. Like a trust, not an account.
You're a walking
It's still an
contradiction,
account.
dude.
It's still an account. I'm
You
not
know
saying it
why
has to be a
it's
savings
contradiction?
account.
Because you guys want me to say it, so I'm saying it.
No, he asked you
I
what
just
you would
asked-
I've been on
do.
my grounds for the last hour. I would not make a special account just because
Right.
for divorce. It doesn't make any sense to get a fucking marriage.
It's not for a divorce. It's just for emergency.
Heavy. It's
I
no.
told you. I would do
you're
that.
beating a dead horse. Like he's basically telling you he'll get burnt again.
Yeah.
That's what he's telling you.
No. I would
Yes.
have. I told you. What did I tell you before? I said I put a trust away. I would
Okay.
have all these other funds for certain investments.
Okay.
Right?
Would you tell her
My name
about
on
the
it?
trust?
That's what we're trying to
Yeah,
say.
I won't tell her about it.
Okay.
You can't put your hands in my trust. So I'll tell you straight up what I got. I got some trust going on because I was even told around that same time I had bought a property in the Bronx for rental.
Okay.
I told that person that I was going to do it, but
Okay.
I kept
Moving
with the
on.
money,
Moving on. Next question.
and they were like,
Next
"Oh,
question.
I
Hour and a
know you
half
wanna
in.
buy a property.
Hour and a half in.
Why don't you go live in your place?"
Yo, did you ever see? All right, I'll let you play with the buttons first.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Let me know when you're
Because
ready.
because it's going that button. Because we
Did
drawn
you-
out. We already been in this an hour and a half.
in
We
the-
only got one question out of like 7.
In the news. in the news. Real quick. This is a dope one. Trust me, bro. I'm not gonna give you a long story short, and it's like longer than the short version.
Okay.
I remember, I think it was last year or maybe 2 years ago, it was a famous soccer player. I believe he was in an Arabic team or he's Arabic. Got divorced from his top model wife,
Yeah, I heard about
right? His wife thought that she was going to get millions and millions of dollars. But what he didn't tell her was everything that he owned had it in his mom's name. So she got nothing.
that. Yeah, I heard that.
That was all over the news, especially worldwide. I forgot the name of the gentleman. I think he's Arabic, I believe. Hey guys, comment the name and the
saw the
team.
story.
I thought that was ingenious. I clapped. I think I was on the toilet when I saw that. I was like, one for the guys. Yes, finally.
Yeah, I mean,
His mom, I was like,
got to be.
when she
But my
got,
thing is, why you with the girl like that? Like, it's just where you meet, like,
bro, we
why your
can't.
mother have to clap
Truth.
after the fact?
Truth.
You should have been.
Truth.
Your mother should have told you, don't
Truth.
even marry that chick.
Truth. People change, and also people show up as their representative. You don't know people all the way.
Correct.
You're right, but that means
So then how would you know how somebody's going to be later? Days, months, years later. You sitting there speaking as
say
hindsight.
Can I say
Hindsight's 2020, not foresight.
Can I say
Correct.
something?
Why are you divorced? Answer that, and then you can say something. Because if you can say that, then I gotta ask you, why are you divorced then? Because
I'ma tell you.
why did you get married if you're divorced right now?
I'm gonna tell you. Because the person and I, right? We shouldn't have got married.
Then you don't have a leg to stand on. Then you got to shut up right now. Then you gotta shut
But
up.
you said you knew her,
I know.
the good, the bad,
Then
the
you
ugly.
shouldn't have got married.
So
You
why
should have
did you
got
get
married.
married?
Then you can't
Because-
get that advice to nobody.
Because
You can't get that advice to nobody,
I know
dude.
you're right.
Nobody can hear you. None of this is getting through. He's just talking. He already realized. You see what I'm saying? Come on, man. Like,
I'm trying to make a point, but yeah.
You're not making a point. You're talking in circles.
No, I'm not.
You are. You literally say somebody else should do something, but you yourself ain't doing it. That's what you're doing right now.
I didn't do it, yeah.
Then how you gonna talk about somebody else?
Well,
Come on, man.
Listen.
Jeez.
I went through it, not because I wanted to do it.
We all went through divorces.
So, like
we
you said,
all did.
The person, like, none of us at this table knew we were going to get a new boy.
No,
That's the point.
That's the point that he's making. Truth.
I know, but what I'm saying is, if you know you didn't sign up for it, right?
Yeah.
That should identify you?
Hold on.
No.
As a male or a female?
No.
You already knew your moms have a particular type when you grew up with around your mother and your father.
Oh my God.
Right?
He ain't getting it, dude.
So,
You don't get it.
if you get that particular type, right? Because that family, they think the same way as you culturally. Got the same type of church, the same type of race, the ethnic group you grew up, same type of food, same type of belief system, right? Usually 9 times out of 10 it's gonna work out.
Okay, we're moving on. Next question. All right.
I want you to watch this show
He ain't going to.
when it comes.
He ain't going to.
I'm gonna test you. That's all I'm saying. What's the next question?
Oh my God. He just don't get it.
I just got angry inside. I'm not
You know what I'm
trying to get angry.
saying? He gets you triggered because he
People-
don't listen
people
and he
change.
talks about stuff and don't even pay attention to what he's saying.
People
We know.
change.
But
Exactly.
you know why they
Jesus.
changed? They had it in them all along.
And by the way, just let
Like
you
you
know,
said, they just
in
hide something
2024, approximately 26% of black women are currently married. In 2024, adversely,
In America, by the way.
in America we talking about. And that's 2024. In 2024, approximately 26% of black women are currently married. In 2024, 26% of black women are currently married. And that's compared to all the others, which are white, Hispanics, and other minorities. In 2024, approximately 47% of black mothers in America are single.
How many? What's the percent?
47%.
That's almost half.
2024, more than double. Just let you know. And you can look that up. There's stats that's right there. So, I'm going to show you this right there. So, actually, I put that right there. So, 47% of black mothers in America, the single mothers, versus 26% of black women are currently married, according to blackdemographics.com. Okay? So, just gonna put that to bed.
No assumptions. Numbers don't lie.
All right, so
Keep it moving.
you go ahead and look that up. So,
Yeah.
it's right there for you. Okay, next question.
How many of them are vegetarians?
So, Jesus, don't get that. Please. All right. We're going to wrap up. All right. Let's get ready to get out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great show. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We love when you do that. Don't forget to hit the bell so you know when the next show's coming out. We're going to see you on the next one. I've been King Bear in the building.
And I'm the truth seeker.
Here's my balls.
Why is y'all playing with the fuzzy duck?
Please help me. Ladies and gentlemen, keep me in prayer. I don't care what religion, just keep me in prayer. I'm the heavy duty.
And we're going to see y'all on the next one. Peace.
Peace.